Hello and welcome to Tarot Zahara. I am your sort of fearless leader, Tina Zahara, and I would like to teach you my method of reading and really grasping the art of tarot, not just understanding what each card means. That's an important part of the process, but not by any stretch the most important part, actually. So just so that you know a little bit about me, I am the offspring of a psychologist and an astrologer. And my mother was an amazing astrologer. It was crazy. Um, and so I did spend a lot of time, still do, picking my father's brain. My mother's gone. But picking her brain, picking his brain, learning about psychology, learning about tarot, learning about astrology, learning about metaphysics, all of it. I worked in bookstores for about 10 years, a little over 10 years, all over the country. I've read in New Jersey, Chicago, and Los Angeles. I have done endless amounts of parties. I have worked psychic fairs. I have worked psychic lines under many different names, although a lot of you will know me as Tina Zahara from The Psychic Eye. I was there for 10 years. I came to tarot out of just a general metaphysical curiosity. I never really intended to work as a psychic or certainly teach. The universe just has plans for me, and I just go along for the ride. Like, I don't really have much choice most of the time. And so I originally met a gypsy who taught me sort of gypsy version of metaphysics, which is not the purest form, but it's got its own life, and it's valuable in its own right. She did not know a lot about what each card meant, I don't believe. But she knew how to read, and she knew how to get the instinctive reaction from the cards that gave you correct answers when you asked a question. And so that was where I got my start. And I took my first job on a psychic line really almost as a joke. I was unemployed at the time. I just needed something to sort of supplement my unemployment for a while. And I found out really fast that I'm pretty good. That right out of the chute, I knew exactly what I was talking about. But I also found out the hard way that I had no idea what any of the cards meant. I just knew how to read them. And it wasn't because she taught me. It was because she didn't teach me. It was because she basically threw a deck at me and said, cups are, emotional and fulfillment, and pentacles are what you deserve and what you earn, and rods are faith and obstacles, and swords are thoughts, and figure it out. And so because she didn't teach me the Celtic cross, which you'll hear me rail about endlessly. I hate the Celtic cross. I think it's a completely useless way of reading. It doesn't, I'm not going to go into it now. I'll rail about it later. But when I finally realized that even though I was a good reader, I didn't know what the cards meant, I went out and I bought a stack. It must have been 30 or 40, 50, who knows, however many books on tarot. And I just had these two big stacks on my kitchen counter. And I'd sit down and I'd read The Fool. And I'd just take little notes on what the Fool means, and then, read all of the Fools through the whole deck, the whole stack of books, and then take my little notes, and then I'd go through the Magician, read all the Magicians in all the books, take my little notes, and those notes are what I'm teaching from. I've been teaching from them since like 91, 92, something like that. And so I know both the instinctive way of getting the answers out of tarot and the more pragmatic or the more practical nuts and bolts kind of way. And I will teach you both ways. If you follow these instructions and you do, if you follow the plan, the program, you will become a really good reader. You may even become a great reader. You may become clairvoyant, which means you can see. You may become clairaudient, which means you can hear. You may become clairsentient, which means you can sense or feel. Any number of things could happen. Everybody's got their own karma, everybody's got their own path. You will have yours as well. And what I'm trying to do is lead you along that path so that you can blossom in your own way that's unique to you. And let's see, I also studied with a channeling instructor, lovely woman named Sean Randall in California, who taught me to relay and trance channel. Well, I was already kind of doing it, but she really taught me how to fine tune it. And then working in bookstores for 10 years, I just read and read and read and read and read and read. I have an ungodly amount of books, and I've given away or sold or lent or whatever a more ungodly number of books. Just because I find the whole issue of metaphysics fascinating. And if you're in a metaphysical bookstore and you've got a lunch hour or, 15 minutes free or whatever, why not pick up a book and read it, right? So that's pretty much how I learned. I have 5 planets in Scorpio. I am Scorpio, Scorpio rising, Mars, the first in Scorpio, and Venus and Neptune in Scorpio in the 12th. I am not just psychic, but I'm dogged. I am absolutely unwilling to not give an answer, and to not give an answer that is cohesive and psychic and borne out with my cards and full and rich. I understand the art of tarot. I'm not going to teach you how to spend eternity looking cards up in a book, although there are books that I will recommend. And so, my method will give you that sort of knee-jerk reaction to the cards, and it will also give you the understanding of what the card actually means, or what they were trying to get across when they made the cards. I would recommend for this class the Book of Tokens. I love this book. I love this book. It's hard to find, although there is a digital copy available online. It is channeled material. It is everything about the tarot cards in the first person, as if the tarot cards were talking to you. And it's broken down by number. And so it programs your brain. When you see the card, you get it, you get it, you get it. It does not make any conscious sense, because it's not for your consciousness, for your unconscious. And the best way to read this book, and it's very difficult, I'm going to tell you this right now, it's very difficult. The chapters are very short, the print is large, they don't, it's not like it's difficult. See, I mean, there aren't that many words on the page, but because it's for your unconscious, not your conscious, you're not used to using that. You're not used to accessing that. You're not used to pumping stuff in there with intention. And so you tend to fall asleep on it. And so I always tell everybody, get ready for bed, get your teeth brushed, get your water, go to the bathroom, whatever it is that you do before you go to bed. Get in bed with this book and fight your way through this until you get through each chapter without falling asleep, which may take several tries. My teacher, when she put me through this, I had to read each chapter 3 times, all the way through without falling asleep, 3 times before I could go on to the next chapter. And then once I got all the way through the book, she made me go through the book 2 more times that same way, because she was really programming my mind. And like, she just handed me a deck and I just knew. It was crazy. So that's what this book is for. Don't expect it to make conscious sense. I know that you guys are hearing everything that I'm saying, and then if you get the book or you get the digital copy or whatever, and you start reading this, you're going to go, this doesn't make any sense. I don't know why she told us to read it, but I'm telling you in advance, you can watch this a second time in case you need a reminder. Okay, this is your practical book. You will need this book henceforth. It is The Pictorial Key to the Tarot by Arthur Edward Waite of Rider-Waite fame. This is the book that all the little cheat sheets in the tarot decks come from, unless it's one of those wacko decks that somebody just, I don't know, arbitrarily decided to call the magician this or the star that, but this is the original. The English is old and it's a little weird, and some words you won't understand. You might have to look them up. But it's still the best book on the market because the pictures and the words match each other. The definitions are in the front of the book, but the definitions for the reversals are in the back. So you get both in this book. Okay. And then if you really have a lust for knowledge, and those two books aren't enough, which some people just get crazy lusty for knowledge. I was that way, certainly. This book, The Rabbi's Tarot, is an excellent book. It gets very much into the symbolism and all the different aspects of the tarot. You can see I've sort of really had my way with this book for many, many years. This one's not necessary. The Rabbi's Tarot is not necessary. But if you are one of those people who really just loves the subject matter, this is a really good book. The next thing you will need is a notebook, just a plain blank notebook with lines, without lines, whatever works for you, right? And you will need a tarot deck. Now, this is where I'm going to get very fussy. I always go through this with everybody, and the people who blow me off do not become as good a reader they don't become as good at reading as the people who actually take this seriously. Any of the Rider-Waite decks, and when I say Rider-Waite decks, I mean anything with Rider or Waite in the title that looks like the Rider-Waite deck, right? Which is not the Thoth deck. If there's an Aeon in your deck, you've got a Thoth style deck. So that is not appropriate, and the pictures will not match the definitions, and it will be very confusing. And so, Rider-Waite, Golden Rider, Universal Waite, or I read on Morgan Greer because that's what my teacher read on, and that's what she gave me the first time, and just in deference to her and just out of respect or whatever, I have always stuck with Morgan Greer. And Morgan Greer is very much the same as the Rider decks, except it cuts off the feet, which sometimes matters and sometimes doesn't, but because it cuts off the feet, it gives you a better look at the character. And I want to look at the characters' faces. That's just me. I also don't like the simplistic coloring. This is probably a bad example of that, but the colors just don't work as well in traditional Rider-Waite. Some of the other Golden Rider, Universal Waite, sometimes have better colors. And Morgan Greer has the richest colors, and I'm kind of a jewel tone kind of person myself. So that's the one that I prefer. And I think that's about it. You should also know that I have been reading professionally. And when I say I've been reading professionally, I don't mean as a side hustle. I don't mean as a second job. I mean as my sole source of income for 30 plus years, since 91, 92, whatever, right? I have a huge amount of experience. There are a lot of people online who will say they have 20 years of experience and they're 32. They don't. Maybe their mother had a tarot deck on the kitchen table when they were a kid, and so they count that. But I'm talking about hands-on, practical, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 readings a day, 30 plus years of experience. And I think that my experience really shines through in the way I teach. And you should also know that when I run through the cards, I'll say, well, the magician means blah, 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 right? But I'm going to just kind of breeze through it because, I keep being told that nobody online has more of an attention span than a flea, which I don't want to hear. But okay, if that's true. That's fine. So I'm going to try and breeze through, but I will also double back over and over and over and over again to discuss other aspects. So you're not just getting like, boom, there's the magician. Okay, move on. And then you don't even think about the magician again until you go to read your cards. So our next video, I will get you started on actually how to read the cards, etc. But I just wanted to introduce myself and tell you why this class is so unique and what I bring to the class that, is really valuable and I have graduated so many, you don't want to know, lots and lots of really good students who turned out to be really good readers. So thank you very much for your time. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you.